I used to wake up every morning having intense levels of anxiety to the point where I struggled to even get out of bed. Morning anxiety. And I'm going to be speaking on why spiritual people, empaths, light workers, people who are into the law of attraction, people who are a little bit more open, experience what we call morning anxiety. And so for some of you, you might be experiencing it on a really shallow level. You're still able to get out of bed. Others, you just feel like staying in bed. You don't want to get up. You don't want to go to work. You're afraid of basically life in general. You want to stay comfortable. And in fact, in Buddhism, this is like sleep is one of the highest levels of, I don't want to say spirituality, but it's like the highest levels of ecstasy, because it's almost like we disappear and we can completely relax and surrender. And so once we're experiencing that, coming out of that into the real world, it can be very ungrounding. It can feel disassociative, like you don't feel like you're really here, and it can feel really uncomfortable. So I know exactly what it feels like, and I was able to overcome this anxiety. In fact, I've been able to overcome all forms of anxiety that I had. I had social anxiety, waking up in the morning kind of anxiety, anxiety on just getting on the phone and speaking with someone. And so I really struggled with different forms of anxiety. So for you, the first thing that we need to understand being an empath and light worker is that you're more sensitive to energy. You also may be someone who's a HSP, a highly sensitive person. And so by being this extremely empathic, sensitive person, the way in which you perceive pain or suffering or something bad is way more intense than you would as someone, who's more balanced with their empathy would feel. So on the one end of the spectrum, we can have HSP, highly sensitive person. We can be empathic, very sensitive to energy, very sensitive to emotions and feelings and things like this. On the other end of the spectrum, you could just be completely numb. And so what we want to do is kind of find the balance in still being empathic, not losing your gifts and stuff like that, and being able to control your emotions and find that balance. All right. And so when I've worked with clients one-on-one and worked with people in overcoming this morning anxiety, it's the main thing that comes up is that they are afraid of the world. And you might be thinking, Gavin, I'm not afraid of the world. Well, consciously, you might not be afraid of the world, but subconsciously, there's this global program that you might not currently be aware of. I just want to state this very clearly. When we have a belief system or an identity that's global, it means you can't see it. Like when a fish doesn't know it's in water, okay? For a lot of people, they don't realize the beliefs that they have. They don't realize the patterns that they have until someone's able to sort of diagnose and identify it for them. And that's why it's important not to think that you know it all. And I'm sure you don't. It's just that some people think, I've watched a YouTube video or I've gone through this piece of content or whatever it is, and now I know. It's not necessarily like that. And that's why I love, to hire coaches, mentors, to give that bird's eye perspective and give that blind spots, finding my blind spots. What can't I see? I can only see so much, but someone can look into my life and see other things. Does that make sense? And so I just want you to open up the idea that you might have this global belief system subconsciously that the world is scary or the world is dangerous or people are suffering in the world, and you don't like that. And so the first thing in the morning, you wake up, you came out of that pleasant sleep and you wake up and now you're in reality, and you came from silence to noise. You came from order to chaos. And for a lot of people, that's really scary, and it's not a comfortable feeling, knowing that there's so much unknown, knowing that you don't know what's going to happen that day, and it can feel really uncomfortable. So for people who are experiencing anxiety in the morning as well, you might be someone who values certainty. Like, you need to know. Like, you need to know what's next, what's coming. You like to plan things ahead. You don't want anything going wrong. You're worried about, what can happen that day. And so you need to know every single detail before you can take action. And I used to be like this, and I didn't like uncertainty. I didn't like the unknown. And this is an area where a lot of us need to grow in, and being okay with the unknown. And in uncertainty can come a lot of excitement, a lot of joy in life. And we just need to train ourselves to be able to, just go out there and be more open into trying new things and stepping outside of our comfort zone. So the solution to this is to find the root cause of the problem, okay? And the root cause of the problem, again, is usually that you're afraid of the world, but you need to find out in what way and how this is manifested into your being, okay? And so what you want to ask yourself is, what is the worst thing that can happen in your reality or in your world? If you ask yourself this question, what is the worst thing that can happen in your world, in your reality, then you'll find the root cause of this particular behavior. Now, this might be a little bit scary for you to do. It might upset you a little bit. You might feel uncomfortable around doing it, especially because you're going into the negative side, you're going into the shadow and beginning to do shadow work. You want to kind of prepare yourself for this and just basically ask you, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen in my world? Okay. And that might be, that someone's suffering or people are suffering in the world, or that, someone's going to pass away. You're afraid of people passing away, or that, you're going to be endangered, kidnapped, something bad's going to happen to you, or whatever it is. All right. And so just keep on going into it and finding out, okay, what is the worst? Is there anything worse than me being kidnapped, or the world's people suffering in the world, or whatever it is? Okay. And once you identify the root cause of this particular belief structure, you want to begin to question that particular belief structure. Is it 100% true? Is it 100% true that this can happen, or am I making assumptions? Is it 100% true, and do I have any control over this? If I have no control over this, then why would I be anxious about it? It's outside of my control. I need to focus on what I can control, and what's within your control is to create inner peace within the body, to create calmness, to wake up feeling alive, to be looking forward to your day, to be looking forward to spontaneity, to be looking forward to the unknown and stepping into that. One of the most powerful belief structures that you can have in multiple areas of your life is doing things that you wouldn't usually do. Stepping outside of what we call the comfort zone, doing things that you wouldn't usually do and being okay with it, resting into that idea of doing things that you don't usually do. And that allows you to grow, it allows you to expand, you start learning more, you'll be able to meet new people, you'll start making more money, having more success. Because if you continue doing what you've always done, you'll continue getting what you've always gotten. And it takes doing something new to really create the reality that you want. But most of us are afraid and paralyzed by the idea of something bad happening on a subconscious level, so it stops us from trying new things. And so as we begin to get rid of that program, we can exchange it for a program where, I want the best thing to happen for me. I want to step outside my comfort zone. I want to try new things. I want to be someone who is okay and 100% comfortable with doing things that I don't usually do. Now, there's a whole bunch of other techniques and strategies that you can use, like grounding, meditation, doing a gratitude list and things like this, distracting the mind. But ultimately, you want to get to the root cause of the problem to completely eliminate it, all right? And so some things that you can use to eliminate it, you may have heard of EFT, or emotional freedom technique. So you can start tapping on certain parts of your body to release these particular emotions around waking up in the morning, having anxiety, and that worst case scenario of, something bad's going to happen, the world is dangerous, people are suffering, and tapping on that particular emotion until it's completely released out of your being. You can even repeat a Ho'oponopono, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, whilst focusing on that worst case scenario emotion. And as you begin to focus on that and put your intention into that, and I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, you begin releasing that vibrational frequency and letting it go completely. I've helped many people get rid of anxiety. It's not something that's hard to get rid of. You know, I know we have therapists and psychologists and all this stuff, but in my honest opinion, it only takes one session. You know, it takes 45 minutes, half an hour to get rid of anxiety completely when you target the root cause of the problem. You just need to know what the root cause is of the problem and then pull it out. The way in which our mind works is understanding that if you could just imagine your brain as loads of different highways and you got a stop sign in the area of, you know, anxiety, and it's causing a lot of traffic and congestion and things are not working properly in the function in the way that it should function. And so when it comes to properly reprogramming the subconscious mind and shifting your identity, all you need to do is find that stop sign and pull it out. Once you pull out the stop sign, the traffic can flow once again how it's supposed to flow. So it doesn't have to take years, months, you know, to release something that you've been holding on to for years or months, right? You can release trauma pretty much instantaneously, but I think a lot of teachings out there don't really know the strategies and the techniques to be able to do that. Now, I shared with you somewhat how you can do that in this video, but I have a whole program, a whole course around shifting your subconscious mind on an identity level, which is extremely powerful. And if you want to find out more about that, you can get a free manifestation diagnosis session with my team, and you can go ahead and message us on WhatsApp. Or alternatively, if you don't want to do that, you can get the free energy reading where I determine your vibrational frequency, and I'll tell you where you're at, and then I'll tell you where you need to be in order to transform your life in very powerful ways. Just this alone, you can see, you know, what you need to do to take your life, your business, your career, your love life to a whole new level, even your health, and really raise your vibration in really powerful ways. So just to reiterate, to release your morning anxiety, you need to find the worst case scenario of what can happen in the world. What's the worst thing that can happen to you in this world? All right. Once you find that, begin questioning that belief, give it new perspective, give it a different way of thinking. Is it true? Is it 100% true? What would you do differently? How would you think differently? And ask yourself, wouldn't it be better to be able to be okay with the unknown, making the unknown completely normal? You can even repeat affirmations like, it's normal for me to step into the unknown. It's normal for me to step into the unknown. In fact, comment that below. It's normal for me to step into the unknown. It's normal for me to do things that are uncomfortable. It's normal for me to try new things. It's normal for me to explore the world and be totally comfortable with that. You know, as you begin to do that, you'll experience more of life. Life doesn't want you to be afraid of life. Okay, you want to be totally comfortable about life and feeling totally grounded about life. And so when you shift that pattern, you're deprogramming, and then you want to reprogram by doing the affirmations like, it's normal for me to feel comfortable about doing anything. And as you begin to do that, you begin to shift your reality very, very powerfully and very, very quickly. And again, if you want that energy reading, the link will be in the description, and check out this video here on manifesting and how your eye color affects your manifestations. Remember to keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.